Good afternoon and welcome. This webinar is a collaboration between the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships and the Office of Human Resources and the Administration of U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. My name is Nicholas Walters, and I am one of the outreach specialists in the Center for Faith-Based. I will be your moderator this afternoon, and as a reminder, everyone's mic has been muted. If you have any questions during today's presentation, please type your question in the Q&A box to the right of the screen. At the end of the presentation, I will read the question out loud and the presenter will provide the appropriate response. This presentation will be provided to everyone that has registered and joined this webinar today. This is a live recording. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Mr. Conrad Washington, the Director for the Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Conrad Washington serves as the Director here at the Center for Faith-Based. Mr. Washington retired from the United States Marine Corps with 20 years of active duty service with a combat tour in 2004. Mr. Washington is a licensed minister actively serving in his faith. He received a master's degree in divinity and pastoral studies from Moody Theological Seminary. He also holds a master's in business management and a bachelor's of science degree in education. Additionally, he is a graduate of VA's class of 2017 Virtual Aspiring Leaders Program. At this time, I give to Washington.
Thanks, Nicholas. I appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us today. I often joke around about how many webinars and Zooms there are across the nation. So I know you have a buffet of choices. So we thank you for stopping by today. And I will acknowledge that I know many are celebrating religious celebrations such as Lent and Ramadan. This is the month of the military child as well. Also, please keep in your prayers and thoughts all those affected by the shooting in Nashville recently. And we just pray for the strength of this nation as well. And so I thank you all again for joining us. I'm excited about today's presenter, which is Mr. Craig Ploessl. I hope I didn't mess his name up. He's got a lot of good information today, so we're excited for that. So again, thank you. And I'll turn it back over to you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Now, at this time, I present Mr. Craig A. Ploessl. He's the Military Spouse Program Manager with the Veteran and Military Spouse Talent Engagement Program, Office of Human Resources and Administration with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Mr. Craig A. Ploessl currently serves as the Military Spouse Program Manager with VMSTEP for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. He serves as the subject matter expert on all aspects of military spouse hiring and provides employment readiness, assistance, and outreach to military spouses along with the veterans transitioning service members. He previously served as the Assistant Deputy Recruiting and Accessions Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Air Force and Force Management Integration at the Pentagon. He also was the Principal Advisor on all policy and matters pertaining to Department of the Air Force Department of Defense-wide talent acquisition, recruiting, and personnel matters. At this time, I give you Mr. Ploessl.
All right, thank you, Nicholas. And first of all, thank you, Mr. Washington, and the wonderful team here at the Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships for this opportunity, but most importantly, for the work that you're doing to serve our veterans. And if you're a partner on the call today, thank you for your continued support. We're all better together, and I truly mean that. And as a veteran, like I told Mr. Washington yesterday, I've only been with the VA now for going on my second month. It's just amazing the things that happen across the Veterans Affairs and the things that are available for the veterans. And as a 30-year veteran, things I didn't know that were available. So it's truly an honor to get here and learn about all these different programs, but also to go out and continue to serve our veterans. As they mentioned, I did 30 years in the Air Force and then 4+ years as civilian at the Department of the Air Force, working in recruiting and accession programs before coming to the VA. I like to look at it as it's almost like a full circle. I spent nearly 25 years in different levels of responsibility, recruiting members and their families to serve our wonderful country. And now to get to take care of our veterans and their families, to include those who continue to serve, it's truly an honor. And speaking of recruiting, I know we got a lot of different partners on the line today and those who are involved in the community. And I'm sure you've seen in the news and other testimonies across that right now our recruiting across the different military services are struggling to find individuals who are interested in service. And that, it's really a struggle, and really we need all of our help as we motivating, educating our youth of the importance of service. And it doesn't have to be in uniform or one of our military services. There are many ways to serve our wonderful country in or out of uniform, and most federal agencies are looking for the outstanding talent that this next generation brings to the game. So we need them, and each of us can serve as an influencer and motivator to discuss opportunities with them. So if you have the ability to go out and talk to individuals about service to the country different ways, I ask you to do that, and we'll get ready with the presentation now. Slide 3, because we're doing a WebEx. If you could please. The next one there if you could please. If you'd like to use the live captions available within it WebEx, here's the directions on how to turn them on. Next slide. At VMSTEP, or better known as Veteran and Military Spouse Talent Engagement Program, our role is to help facilitate the hiring of military spouses, veterans, and transitioning service members. We want the VA to be the employer of choice when they are seeking employment, and we also want to retain our current members of our VA family. And shortly, I'll discuss some of the things we're doing to get after our mission. Next slide, please. As you can see, our support starts at the top by reading that there from the Secretary, and is supported by leadership throughout the VA. We must make the VA the employer of choice and bring our heroes over to serve other heroes. Next slide, please. Here's some of the steps, the things that we're doing, recruit, hire, and retain. And we're always looking for different ways that we can go out and tell the VA story and assist other teams with across the VA with their recruiting, hiring events. We do this through a wide variety of in-person and virtual career-centric events, similar to today's event, talking about some of the things that are going on with the VA. We also connect with military spouses, veterans, and transitioning service members and discuss opportunities with them. Our goal is to continue to work across the VA once we have these new members on board to retain them for the long-term and stable employment. As we go through the next few slides, we'll dive a little deeper into some of the areas and what we're doing to get after hiring of military spouses, veterans, and transitioning service members, along with their family members. Next slide, please. So I'm going to actually talk a little bit about our actual mission within VMSTEP. We're a small but mighty team who is very passionate about our veterans, military spouses, transition service members, and the families and the caregivers and survivors. On top of there is customer service. Both internal and external are the center of what we do. The VA is our #1 customer because each of us at the VA have the ultimate responsibility to care for our veterans and their families, the caregivers, and the survivors. So ensuring we are recruiting, hiring, and retaining the best of the best who share the same core values as those that are currently here, I care, integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence is critical. And everything you see on this slide revolves around what our mission is here at the VA. Through accountability, teamwork, and transparency, and we do all this together. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about the little different areas within VMSTEP. First one will be focus area is the military spouse, which is the area I'm responsible for and manage for the Veterans Affairs. As you can see, there are several hiring authorities specific to the military spouse. The top one there, the Executive Order 13832, encourage agencies to hire military spouses to the greatest extent possible. Monthly, we have to report how many new military spouses we onboard at the VA. And then also on an annual basis, we have to report to the Office of Personnel Management how many new military spouses the Veterans Affairs hired during the year. And in turn, the OPM collects that same information across all the different federal agencies and provides an annual report to the White House that shows the different programs that we're using and what some of our outreach programs that we're doing for the military spouse. And then in the 2019 National Defense Authorization Act there that we have removed the requirement for the spouse to relocate with the military member if they get PCS orders. And now it just states that spouses married to active duty military members. So that was a a huge win for military spouses. There's some times where they can't relocate with the military member, but in order to still be eligible for this authority, they can stay at current location, apply for federal positions, and still be employed. Next slide, please. And again, it goes about the non-competitive appointments of military spouse and some of the things that are available to our hiring managers. And this isn't just for the VA, this is across the federal government. And then, you know, who's eligible inside those for the military spouse. And we like to state when you hire a military spouse, you're hiring a military family. They provide the sustained stability for the military and transitioning military members. Our goal is to show how by investing in the talent of a military spouse, you're also investing in the military member by helping to provide financial stability to the military family in uniform and or out of transition or transition out of uniform while we retain qualified and quality talent with our workforce. For those who were, you know, part of military or military spouse that, you know, the pain of having to try to find a new job each time you PCS, but, you know, bringing on a military spouse and some of these authorities make it a lot easier for these spouses to consider for employment. So we really like to ensure that our hiring managers and our HR teams out there are aware of these, you know, the authorities that are, you know, available. And sometimes, you know, we may not realize and utilize. Next slide, please. Our next slide is on the veteran program there. Ms. Casilla Davis is our program manager for the veterans. You know, these are different authorities and preferences that are available to hiring managers across all federal agencies. And we'll talk a little bit about each one of these. These hiring authorities help ensure that our, you know, our qualified veteran population is afforded the opportunity to apply for positions. And also, it's a great opportunity for hiring managers to be able to find that right fit to fill a vacancy quickly, because you can do these a lot faster than you can typically on other hiring actions. And so making hiring managers and other HR teams, you know, keeping them aware of these authorities is a great way. And then the 30% or more, this authority allows for the non-competitive appointment of any veteran with 30% or more service-connected disability. VA human resource practitioners use this authority to make the temporary, which at least 60 days, but not to exceed a year, or a term not to exceed 4 years appointments in the competitive service. There is no grade limitation on the use of this authority here. There is also no requirement for the veteran to be converted to a permanent position, but any agency or department has authority to convert the position to a permanent one if it chooses to do so. And then the next one there is the veterans recruitment and appointment. This authority allows an agency to appoint a veteran non-competitively up to the grade of GS11. And they can be converted to a career conditional appointment after 2 years. Now, if they're appointed on a temporary basis or on a temporary or a term position, that the VA or the veteran does not have to be converted after 2 years. They can use the veteran preference on this authority, and for this one to be eligible, it's disabled veterans, veterans with active duty during a war or during a time when a campaign badge is authorized, veterans who received Armed Forces Service Medal, or recently separated veterans, typically within the last 3 years and separated under honorable conditions. Then the Veterans Employment Opportunity Act. This authority allows eligible veterans to apply for positions announced under the merit promotion procedures when an agency department is recruiting outside of its own workforce. It allows veterans to apply for positions that otherwise they may not be eligible to apply for. That may be limited to, you know, status candidates where it's, you know, only open to current competitive service employees or certain prior employees who may have left and have competitive return rights. But eligible veterans must ensure they meet the minimum qualifications for the position advertised and the position to which being appointed, which our HR professionals do a great job of working with the veteran population and also with the hiring managers to ensure that they're qualified for the positions that they're applying for and that we're also hiring them for. And for this one, to be eligible, it's preference eligible, and also veteran who has completed at least 3 years or more service under auto conditions. Next slide, please. Now we're going to talk about our transitioning service members and the things that I've called this a very important and critical population group. Whether it's been a current member who served 2 years, 4 years, 20 years, or up to 30 years, but they're getting ready to transition out of the military, and they're one of us. They're getting ready to be enter the veteran workforce, and there's a lot of opportunities out there that are available to them. And Miss Heidi Martin is our program manager for this area. And we're trying to expand within the VA some of the things that we can do, and as are other federal agencies and us corporate sponsors and others who help with our transition member, which is a very critical role. Because some of these are the up and coming leaders of different organizations. So we really care about our transition members, just like we do with our veterans and our military spouses along with family members. And a lot of these programs start 180 days out from their separation and great opportunities. And I always tell transitioning military members, your transition really starts the day you enter the service. And so when I get the opportunity to speak to the military members, I try to make sure that we're preparing them for that transition. As I mentioned, the top one there, the DoD Skill Bridge program, which is an outstanding program that has great opportunity and room for growth within whether it be the VA or other organization. It matches the military member with civilian opportunities for the training that they've had to do additional job training or based on their military duty, or it could be something that's completely different. It's something they're looking at what to transition to. It's an opportunity for the service member to gain valuable civilian work experience through the specific industry training, apprenticeships, internships, during the last 180 days of service. And the good part about this, it's they're still getting paid during this 180 days that they're participating in the skill bridge. So it's a win-win for the member and also the organization that brings them on to provide them that skill set to hopefully be able to hire them full time upon their separation from the military. The next one is we'll talk about is the Warrior Training Advancement Course, better known as WARTAC. It's open to wounded warriors and active duty service members in the transition process. This program provides an opportunity for the participants to either be a VA rating veteran service representative or a veteran service representative. So the RVSR or VSR. The VSR class is a 6-week course, and the RVSR class is an 11-week course. It's a great way for them to come over to the VA and learn how to be help with other transitioning service members with their VA rating and work in that program. Then we also have the Warriors to Workforce. This is a 1-year program that offers service-connected veteran or disability veterans with service-connected disability to transition to a new career field within the federal government. It's within the contracting area there. It's acquisitions. They come on as a GS5. They receive credit for the courses they go through that are, with the accredited institution. After they complete the program, interns are then converted to a GS7 contract specialist and advance to the acquisition internship program. Another great program, and it's a great way. It's always opportunities within the acquisition business for contracting specialists that could grow, and it's a very rewarding opportunity in career field. Then we have the VA Intermediate Care Technician Program, which is great for our folks over at in our medical centers to bring on these currently serving members or recently separated prior military corpsmen, medics, and others that have the medical background, medical technicians and such, to go and work in our ICT program over there within VHA and other medical facilities across the VA. And it's a very integral part of our VA team there. Next slide, please. Partners. Just like several of you partners on the line today and community members, we can't do what we do without the great partners that we team within VMSTEP and other, across the VA to do what we have to do to make the VA the employer of choice. We joining forces, a White House sponsored uh, organization. They really do great things to help with our military and veterans and military spouses. Uh, and they keep a watchful eye on, and they listen to our concerns as we try to improve our programs across the VA to hire more veterans and military spouses and our transitioning service members, and along with the family members who are seeking opportunities with the VA. You know, and most of these partners, or all these partners, they share the same mission as us of caring for our veterans and families. Uh, so I know I went through those slides at a record pace, but I want to make sure that I know we have plenty of time. But the next slide there, open up any questions that you might have out there. And just a reminder, if I don't have the answer, being the new guy on the block, I will definitely get the right answer and get it back out to you. And there's my email address, along with our website, vaforvets.va.gov. It's lots of resources out there on that website for, whether it be for our partners, veterans, military spouses. It gives you great links to other resources that are out there too to, help with resume building and such.
Thank you, Mr. Ploessl. Now I will address the questions in the Q&A box. The first question that we have comes from Anthony DeLucia. And the question is, one second. For the DoD Skill Bridge, would there be a possibility of paid training scholarships in the guitar building for our anniversary? Tennessee State, you will soon be trying to help veterans, primarily those with mental health or substance use disorder, issue into the field of lutheranry, guitar making.
Nicholas, I'm going to add, if you could forward that question to me along with the email address, or I'll just make sure I understand the question correctly, make sure we get the right answer back out there on how we can team with the DoD Skill Bridge program and see if there's the ability to get after what they're asking there.
Okay, yes, sir, no problem. We can do that. And that concludes the questions for us this afternoon. Now I would like to bring back Mr. Washington, who will provide some closing remarks.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Craig. That was a great brief. It was brief, but it was very informative. And so, excuse me, I know that as people let that soak in, I'm certain many will come back and ask more questions. But this is a perfect time to share some other interesting information about what the VA is doing, specifically the PAC Act. I know many of you have heard about it. It's the biggest expansion in VA care and benefits in many years. And it's likely the biggest expansion in VA care benefits that we've had over many decades. It's called the PAC Act. It's the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson Honoring Our Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act. And basically it's the PAC Act, P-A-C-T. When veterans served our country, many were exposed to toxic hazards like toxic air, radiation, smoke, Agent Orange, burn pits, and other environmental hazards. But for too long, veterans and the survivors couldn't get the toxic exposure-related benefits and the health care they deserved. But now things are different. The PAC Act, which was passed August of last year, expanded that health care and benefits for millions of veterans. We recently in this office had a PAC Act overview for our webinar on Tuesday, March 31st. You can find that on our website as well with the information, but you also can go to PAC Act as well on the website to find out about it. And again, it's important. It changes lives. It may even impact generational wealth as well. But other than that, hey, we thank you all for joining us. Our next webinar is coming up and it's on suicide prevention. We have it every month, but it's still important because many veterans are taking their own lives. So again, today is April 4th, but our next webinar is April 12th, which is Wednesday. We look forward to you joining us. Until then, be blessed and take care.
If you registered for this event, we will provide today's presentation at a later date, and it would also be on our website. Please subscribe to our website and our Facebook for future webinars and information. This adjourns today's webinar. Thank you for joining us and have a great day.